to fill these patties or lo'i, the taro patches, and that's what we're going to be seeing. So we're going to fly up through Avavapui and then down through Nuololo Aina. So Avavapui translates to Eel Valley. And the legend is that the god Maui, was out fishing one day when he caught an eel. When he brought that eel up onto shore, it wriggled its way into the mountainside here, leaving behind this very narrow and undulating valley known as Avavapui. That's how it got its name. Alright, we're going to cross over here, cross over this little ridge line. We're going to shed some altitude.
Wow. Awesome. Oh, yeah.
So on the way out the valley, we want to be looking at the valley floor. We're going to be seeing a good number of straight lines, right angles, sort of rectangles, right alongside the stream. So those are the remnants of these lo'i or taro fields, taro patches. They would create an environment, a habitat suitable not only for the taro to grow, but also for freshwater shrimp and even fish to survive back here. So it would really help the Hawaiians be very, very self-sufficient within these otherwise extremely isolated valleys. Oop. That looks like a whale. Alright, so we're going to head somewhat offshore, and we're going to come around to check out the next section of the coastline. Although let's see if we can't take a peek at the skylight. So in just a second, I'm going to have you look straight down to our right. We're going to be passing over one of the very few sea caves that we can look into. So we call this the skylight because we can get a view looking right down into it. So looking right down to our right, we can see the skylight. And on very calm days, you'll have boats coming in there and getting into the cave. We don't do that.
Whoa.
Now from here, like I said, we are going to head offshore. Now just right where that splash is, I believe that is a humpback whale. So every year, humpback whales make an annual migration from the waters of Alaska down here to the warmer waters of Hawaii, where they spend their winters birthing their calves, nursing their young, before traveling back up to Alaska for the summers, where the nutrient-rich waters there are full of plankton and krill, which is their favorite food. So we're going to head offshore. We'll see if we can catch them. Days like today can be a little bit tricky because you have all the white caps on the ocean. It's like, is that a whale or is that a wave? Calm days, it's a lot easier. He might have taken a breath and dipped out, but we'll see. For being such big animals, they can really disappear quickly. That's okay. We'll keep looking, but for now we're going to come around. We're going to check out the coastline from a little ways back, which is nice.
Calvin, do you see a whale?
What's that?
Oh, I was just asking if Calvin's paying attention. Well.
Alright, so looking back at the coastline here, just off our nose to the left here is Kauai Valley. So that's the largest of the Nepali Coast valleys. Up on the ridgeline directly in front of us, we can see that globe I pointed out as we were crossing over a section of the Yalakai. Just to the right, Honopu Valley, and the two beaches out in front of it. And then the section just dead ahead, this is what we call the cathedrals. So the cathedrals are this area of razor-sharp ridges, towering spires. That was awe-inspiring to the degree that it's earned itself this name of reverence, the cathedrals. And they stand as a backdrop to Kauai Beach. So just below us here, in front of us is Kauai Beach, which is the endpoint for the Nepali Coast Trail. So the Nepali Coast Trail extends 11 miles from Kauai, the flat spot we see out on our left, along the coastline, winding up right down here at Kauai Beach. Honopu is kind of special. There's the two beaches down here that appear to be separated by that ridgeline. There's actually an arch that runs below that ridge that connects the two beaches. So, kind of cool. We have some heavy surf today. Now just to our right, we've got these two red hills that run kind of parallel to each other. The one closest to us has the trail that runs just straight up on top of the ridge line there. And then in just a moment, we're going to have these three ridges that run parallel to each other. And about midpoint, we'll have the trail running perpendicular to the ridges. From here we can see the trail kind of traversing the cliff line just before it drops off into the ocean. So this trail is regularly voted among the top 10 most beautiful hikes on Earth. Unfortunately, it just as frequently makes the list for top 10 most dangerous. Because of its remote nature, the isolated kind of nature of this hike, and the fact that certain areas of it are certainly treacherous. People sometimes do go missing off of this trail, and when they do, it can often be several days before anybody thinks to start to look for them because people go out with the intention of being gone for several days. Yeah, these whitecaps are messing with me today. I am certain I just saw a whale. Peace. These kids. So, having said that, the dangerous parts about hiking the Nepali Coast Trail, in spite of it, every year nearly 750,000 people will hike at least some portion of the Nepali Coast Trail. For the vast majority of those people, Hanakapiai is going to be their destination. So Hanakapiai is 2 miles from Kauai Beach out ahead of us to Hanakapiai Beach, which is coming up just on our right here. Hanakapiai is the first major valley that you would come to along the coastline. And an additional 2 miles inland will get you to the Hanakapiai Falls. That's 8 miles round trip. No permits are required for this portion of the hike. It is a pretty long 8 miles. But well worth it if you get the opportunity. So this brings us to the end of the Nepali coastline, the beginning of the North Shore. So just down below us on our right, we have Kauai Beach, the end of the road on the North Shore of the island. The ridgeline just to our right here is Bali Hide, made famous by the movie South Pacific. And just on the other side of that ridgeline is Limahuli Valley. So Limahuli Valley is home to the Limahuli Gardens, part of a network of gardens known as the National Tropical Botanical Gardens. The National Tropical Botanical Gardens are throughout the country, but we do have 3 of them here on the island. Limahuli up here on the North Shore, and then Allerton and McBride Gardens down on the south side. This is an amazing facility. The entirety of this valley comprises the gardens, and they are a wealth of information on native and endemic plant species. They've got a wide catalog of rare and endangered plants as well. Just as the coastline dips in here, just ahead of us, we've got Hyanna Beach Park. It's home to the wet and dry caves. And then just down below us here, this large reef structure we see is Tunnels. The beach at Tunnels is named for the extensive network of arches, caves, caverns, and tunnels in the reef just below the surface. Now, during the winter time, this is a very popular area for surfing. But it's during the summertime where you can really see where it got its name by diving through that area, either scuba diving or snorkeling, free diving. A lot of the caves and arches and stuff are down around 60 feet, so scuba diving is kind of ideal. But this brings us to Hyanna. So I've been saving my tips to buy a place somewhere along this little coastline here. Sadly, I will probably be saving for the rest of my life, as these are some of the highest real estate prices in the entire country. Growing up here, this is a fairly quiet local area. Today, it's home to folks like Pierce Brosnan, Alanis Morissette, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So it's kind of become home to the rich and famous. Speaking of rich and famous, Mark Zuckerberg has been buying up property here left and right, and most of the property that he's been buying is in Kilauea, same place that you guys are staying. So looking out ahead of us, the point sticking furthest out into the ocean there is Kilauea, and specifically the Kilauea Lighthouse marks the northernmost point in the state of Hawaii, so you can actually make out the lighthouse, a little white speck out there. The lighthouse itself is a historic landmark, as it was constructed in 1913. It was later renovated in 2013, and it's also a wildlife refuge, a bird sanctuary for seabirds making their way in off the ocean to nest and raise their young, primarily through the summer months. Down below us on our left we have Hanalei. Hanalei is a fantastic walkable little town full of shops and restaurants, bars, galleries, boutiques. And throughout Hanalei you'll see a large number of these square and rectangular patties. So these are taro fields. These are the lo'i I was talking about back at Nuololo Aina. Throughout the state of Hawaii, approximately 95% of all the taro that's consumed within the state is grown right down here in Hanalei. So Hanalei is pretty famous for its taro, or more specifically its poi, which is the main dish made out of taro. Now the main strip of Hanalei is going to be between about 2 and 4 blocks from the ocean, so depending on which end of the strip you're on. It is a great place to grab a plate lunch or a bite to eat, walk on down to the beach. The beach around Hanalei Bay has pretty much anything you could want out of a beach. I'm assuming you guys have been up to the North Shore.
We were there yesterday.
I didn't hear you.
You didn't hear me?
No.
Oh, I see. So, wow, have I just been talking to myself?
No, I can hear it. I just couldn't hear your question.
Have you guys been up to Hanalei and the rest of the North Shore? Oh, okay, excellent.
We went yesterday. It was our first day, and we went yesterday.
Very good. Excellent, excellent. That's awesome. Alright, so from here we're actually going to be moving inland, and we're going to be making our way towards the Waialeale crater. To get there though, we're going to be going by Namolokama. So Namolokama is this mountain here. It's the largest of the 3 mountains that stand as a backdrop to Hanalei. This mountain is 4,000 feet tall at its top, and the top of it is flat. So that flat top is tilted slightly in the direction of Hanalei, and that tilt supports this single waterfall down its face all year long. So this is Waiole, And given enough rainfall, which this mountain does tend to get a lot of rain, it will start flowing with countless additional waterfalls as well, but Waiole here will flow all year long. And one cool thing about the Mulakama is that it has carved out these notches out of its face